Wonderful to be here and to share the experience of our islands, because as the Vice Chair of the European Small Islands Federation, we would very much like to put the islands more prominently on the manifesto and the rural agenda. Okay, so I'm going to share with you, I think there was a slide. I'm going to share with you the story of the island that I live on. It's the Isle of Eigg, 17 miles or an hour off the northwest coast of Scotland. It may be a small island, only 9 kilometers by 5, but it has made a huge impact by helping to change the land ownership patterns in Scotland. 25 years ago, the Scottish countryside was still dominated by tweed-clad lairds and their wealthy friends, hunting, shooting and fishing on large heather-covered estates. This is how it was for us on Eigg, stagnating in the hands of such private landlords. So when the island was put up for sale, the islanders decided it had enough. They were a small, determined community, less than 100 people, but the wind of change was in their favor, and they had many friends and supporters. Together, they started a campaign to buy the Isle of Eigg and run it themselves for the benefit of the community and its environment, social, natural, and cultural. To do this, they teamed up with a regional authority, the Highland Council, and a major wildlife conservation body. With the islanders in a driving seat, they formed the charitable community trust to own and manage the island. In 1997, 2 years after their campaign, they succeeded in effecting the first community buyout of an island in Scotland. This was a landmark event. When the Scottish Parliament was reinstated in 2000, one of its first tasks was to modernize land law, get rid of remaining feudal aspects in it, and make it easier for other communities to follow in the footsteps of Eigg. So, in practical terms, what did community buyout mean for the people of Eigg? It meant improving the island's infrastructure and access, ensuring a new pier was built for a new roll-on, roll-off ferry, all this benefiting from European funding. It meant providing better quality housing, giving secure long leases to the people that live there, making it easier for them to access renovating grants, providing building plots for self-built, and, most importantly, providing shared equity for those that could not afford to buy the land to build on. It meant also creating new economic opportunities by building new premises for island businesses, encouraging entrepreneurship and sustainable tourism. And guess what? It was all leader-funded. And most spectacularly, it also meant Eigg, an off-grid island with 24 electricity from renewables. Integrating for the first time ever wind, sun, and water, the Eigg Island microgrid has drawn hundreds of international visitors to the island to have a look at how it's working. And building on this, the island is now working to become a fossil fuel-free island with the help of the Clean Energy for EU Islands program. Of course, getting a decent broadband was another priority now that we had electricity. And what we did was to get a group of islanders to start a community interest company to provide high-speed internet access, but not just for us, also the neighboring islands and peninsula in our area. So, good connectivity, shared equity, growing tourism, entrepreneurship, the sense of community and the quality of the environment. All this has managed to attract a younger population to the island, either islanders who had left to study and work, but came back to raise their children, or new islanders who have chosen to make their lives there. I'm one of them. These younger, economically active people have a changing perception of what island life has to offer. They are not so interested in growth, but rather in sustainability, in renewal, in restored viability without risk to the island assets, or the well-being and community-related benefits of island life. All this has contributed to the success of Eigg, underpinned by the 1915 Scottish Community Empowerment Act. Community ownership is now seen as the easiest and quickest way to rural empowerment in Scotland. Today, just over 500,000 acres are now in community ownership, about 3% of Scotland's land, half the Scottish Government's target. Change is happening, slowly but surely, And what is remarkable is the large amount of community trust-owned land on islands, from Lewis, Harris, North Uist and South Uist to Gia and Alva, all along the western seaboard. So what we are now seeing on the island is a type of regeneration and revival that has been happening on Eigg for the past 20 years. Local people are being empowered to make their own decisions about economic development, housing and energy, about the cultural and natural heritage of their islands, about the sea surrounding them. The community energy sector is growing, with community wind farms bringing revenue to fund community project and development. This is a strength that the recently published National Island Plans for Scotland is recognizing. Following extensive consultation with the islanders themselves, the plan aims to address the priorities they have identified. I'm glad to say that the techniques that we have used for this planning for the National Island Plan were derived from the Rural Parliament for Scotland. Social space, open space, Well Cafe. So all inspired by the ERP itself. So now we know that decisions affecting islands will be submitted to an island impact assessment, a very new concept. So by removing barriers, the plan should help the resilient and innovative island communities of Scotland keep paving the way for ideas and solutions that can be then exported to the mainland. This is an exciting prospect, and we will be sharing it with all the other 10 islands federation of the whole of Europe. And this is the end of my presentation. Let's talk about islands again later on today.